What's going on, guys? You are now listening to the Highly Flavored Podcast. This is the Highly Flavored Podcast. This right here is episode number 7. Episode number 7. I thank you guys for tuning in. I thank you guys for tuning in, man. This is the Highly Flavored Podcast. What's going on, guys? This is the Highly Flavored Podcast. This is episode number 7. I am your host, Eddie Royal. And today we're going to talk about a few things, as we always do. Entertainment on one side. And we're also going to try to get into some social reviews if I get a couple things thrown at me from Facebook and Instagram. If you guys actually want to participate this week in the content. I don't have none. That's not dye, man. This is all natural. Thank you. On Instagram, I did put out I am putting out recently the song "Get It Done." Thanks for those who saying that they actually like the track. It's supposed to be dropping on October 19th on all your streaming platforms. So go and stream that for me. Once it drops, I will be promoting that when it hits. But let's get right into it real quick. Let's get over the weekend. The Conor McGregor fight was this weekend. He lost. If you're into it, that's what's up. To me, the fight was boring. In UFC, styles really make fights, and being as though the two fighters' styles were actually completely different, the fight to me was really, really boring. That's all. That's my real take on it. Conor lost by submission, some type of chin hold, throat hold, headlock type of thing that was going on, and that was pretty much it. Nothing really too big to go into that. It's nothing about it to me. I can't really elaborate more. I can't really go into all the technical things about it. I like strikers fighting strikers. I like grapplers fighting grapplers. That's my take on UFC. I think they should be matched up accordingly. But at the same time, if you're in a weight class, you fight who's in your weight class, especially if you want the belt. So that's it for the weekend. Another big thing that happened over the weekend, some big news, is Vic Mensa allegedly has dissed Xxxtentacion in his BET freestyle cipher that was pre-recorded. And the award show is also pre-recorded, and it happened over the weekend. And it's supposed to be coming like sometime next week, I think around 16th or 19th or something like that. So we have yet to hear what was actually said on this freestyle, and I'm kind of not afraid, but it's kind of wary now. I don't even know if the freestyle is going to end up being put in the award show. It's getting so much controversy, but it will also get them more views. So I don't see why they wouldn't do it to get them more looks, just as people want to hear what he actually said. So he allegedly dissed Xxxtentacion. His mother was in attendance. He won an award for best new hip hop artist or something like that. Don't quote me on that, but it's something along those lines. And it's one of those things where, like, if he was alive, it probably wouldn't be as much of a big deal. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to play Vic Mensa, just a quick clip of him actually doubling down on what he said. And again, he's never said his name, but I'm going to play it for you guys on what he says, about 30 seconds. I'll play it real quick. Those who are on the live feeds, of course, you won't hear it, but just hang tight real quick while I play it, and it'll be on the playback. So Vic Mensa says what he meant about his stance.
Recently, I did a freestyle for the BET Awards cipher addressing and condemning rappers who unabashedly abuse women and those who stand up for them and even call them legends. I stand behind those statements. It was pre-recorded weeks ago, and I had no idea a grieving mother would be in the audience to honor her lost son. I never intended to disrespect her, and I offer my deepest condolences for her loss at the hands of gun violence. However, I vehemently reject the trend in hip-hop of championing abusers, and I will not hold my tongue about it. I don't give a fuck about getting attention. I care about bringing awareness and holding people accountable for their actions.
So he was saying that he don't really care about it. As far as what he said, he's not going to double back on it. 1 second. He was saying he's really not going to double back on what he said. He's not for abusers, specifically males who are abusing women in hip hop, and how seemingly some of them are being championed. So that's what he was pretty much saying. He said, I pretty much said, I don't give a fuck. He apologized for how it was taken as far as with Triple X's mother being in attendance. He said he feels, his condolences go out to her and her family for losing a child tragically due to gun violence. So he spoke on that, but he's not backing off his actual statement of saying that anyone who abuses women, they should not be championed on any platform. And of course, I agree. I agree with that. In that context, I agree with exactly what he's saying. I didn't hear, again. We didn't hear what the cipher says. We didn't hear if he actually said his name. So that's another. It's up in the air for now because we don't know exactly what was said, the exact words in the context that he used in his cipher, in his segment, in his verse, and But let's talk about it for a second. We do champion a lot of things in hip hop, or if we don't champion it, we at least support the person who did it because we like their music. We tend to fall in love with them as a artist. And is that something we need to take a deeper look at as far as how we consume our hip hop, or how we just tolerate certain things? We tolerate gun violence until it happens to someone in our family or someone that we love or someone in our neighborhood or a child or things like that. We champion ratchet behavior from women when it's in music and things like that, and even amongst the hip hop culture, when it's in that type of hip hop setting, we champion it. Then even just like actually seeing it happen, we laugh about it, we record it, we joke about it, we say she a thug and things like that. So it's a lot of things that we champion. We champion the murderers, we champion the drug dealers, we champion. Now we're even championing the drug abusers. When do we take a step back and say we're allowing too much to happen in hip hop? Because this is one of the fears that people always said, this is affecting our kids. Our kids are thinking this is okay. And then when they go out and they get locked up for something, or they go out and they harm somebody and things like that, and they're blaming it on the music, or they're blaming it on TV, and we're like, nah, it's about how you raise your child, because those factors can't really steer your child or your family member in the wrong direction if you step in. And I don't think that's 100% true. I don't think that with the purest of parental guidance, a child can still go down the wrong path because of their outside influences, whether it's peer pressure or whether it's through music or media. What do you guys think about that? Like, how do you feel as far as let's just take the Triple X case for example, put it in a vacuum, and he's recently deceased, lost through gun violence back in like June or something like that, and that's around the same time that Vic Mensa's cipher verse was recorded. So it was something that was already coming into effect. So take a situation where he was actively on trial or going through court hearings about a domestic violence issue. And of course, now that he's passed, we're not going to see if he was not guilty or not guilty in the eyes of the court, of the judicial system. But so now everything's up in the air and the speculation, and we're looking in that, because they filmed it in Florida. He's from Florida, and in that area, I think that was a touchy topic, and he was champion even when he was alive. I mean, I enjoyed his music. I tried my hardest to detach people's music from what they do in their everyday life. And sometimes it's hard, but in this case, since his trial was still going on, it was easier for me, because I'm like, well, he hasn't been proven guilty yet, so in this time, I'm just going to enjoy the music that's here, and then whatever happens, through that, we'll deal with it. But he passed away, and now he's being championed even more after his passing, which is normal. But people are saying, like, some people were like, don't forget what he was on trial for. And I'm like, we have to forget what he was on trial for, I guess, at this point, because the trial would never be finished. It's something that would never be completed. So, and everyone's who's defending Triple X now versus Vic Mensa, with his alleged mention of Triple X in his verses or in his verse, it's crazy because I don't know if he would have had the same support if he was still alive. I don't know if people would have been so fast to say, "Oh, that was distasteful," if he was still alive. And it's touchy, because yeah, his mom was in attendance. His mom accepted the award, for him and things like that. And that's another thing. I don't know if he would have even won the award if he didn't pass away. So it's one of those things in media now where they're always looking for something that's going to make the big splash. And by him being deceased, and people want to see, people like, oh, that's what's up, because he's been out for a while. So to win Best New Artist, and you dropped a few projects over the last few years, it always weirds me out how they do things like that as far as awards go. It always throws me off and saying, like, well, they're not new. They have 2 albums in. You're not new. He could have got something else. Album of the year. So I don't know. They just feel like that was the easiest thing to give him without people being too upset as far as where his music goes. He could have got like Song of the Year. Whatever they do at the awards, he could have got something different than Best New Artist of the Year, because there are current new artists that were coming up and they were making a little more wave in the industry than he was when he was still around. But neither here nor there. I think it was distasteful if he actually mentioned his name, but at the same time, we do support things in hip hop culture that aren't really supported in other genres of music, so to speak, as intensely. Yeah, and like country music, they have mentions of certain things. But at the same time, I don't see a lot of country stars getting arrested for the things that are in their music as well. We have the street rappers who are talking about, drug dealing, and they're talking about shootouts and things like that, and then they go and get arrested for those same mentions that they have in their music. We all be like to say, keep that same energy, and it's like, no, don't keep that same energy. You had a way out, and you're still doing these things. But then the worst part about it is they go and then they put it in song form. They go and, they pretty much put their entire criminal history in music. And then when they're in trial and their lyrics are being played back in court about certain things that they're actually actively on trial for, we're looking at it like, that's crazy that they get to use music in court and using their art form, as a way to sentence them or add extra time to their sentencing. And I'm like, don't put your criminal activity in song form when you're an active criminal. Like, if you're an active criminal, I see if you were someone who just literally all the time is making up something and everything is just content and that's what you're talking about. But if you're actively doing it and on your social media platforms, you're going out and you're putting a brighter light on gang violence and things like that, and this is your lifestyle, and whatever set you're in, and you're doing all these things on your social media platforms, and you get booked, and you put in the song and they play it in court. It's crazy. You're putting yourself in a position to lose because it's like you're snitching on yourself, and it's like, wow, we got the whole stop snitching movement that's been going on forever, and then now people are doing more snitching on themselves. They're telling on themselves. They're doing everything to themselves, and then we feel bad, and all we want to say is fuck the police and stuff like that. And it's, hip hop has its own task force. Like, there's police just for us, just for people who do hip hop music, because we have so far along the timeline of music have proven to be the most violent, We have proven to do the most harm to each other. And these are things, like, these are facts. I'm like, this is not me just like playing some type of crazy on one side or the other. These are the things that I see. These are the things that I've lived through. These are the things that are proven and documented. We have proven to be the most violent acting genre of music, not just through our content but through our physical actions. We highlight people who are going to jail. We're screaming free TK, and I don't know all of the dealings with his case, but he made a song about running from the cops after an alleged shooting and someone died. Things like that is like, what are we doing sometimes? Like where's our minds, like, where are we going? Like, where are our minds when we're sitting here saying those things are okay? Like, we highlight it because they put it in the song and we were entertained for a short period of time, but someone else died. Like, someone lost their child, their brother, their father, whatever the case may be. Someone lost out on something, and all we care about is the music that comes after that. In this genre, we see people in our genre, people that we love, go to jail, and we're like, man, I can't wait till they get out because I want to hear about, like, how they made it through and this, that, and the third. We want to hear about all the music that they're going to come out after they come from prison. It's like, where was some of us didn't even support that person when they were out. But now you want to hear the aftermath of that. Like, and then if they come out on some holier than thou, I'm reformed and changed, we're like, that shit trash. I ain't want to hear that. I wanted to hear the old XYZ. It was like, come on. Like, you got to give some room for growth. You got to give people time to be better people. We can't always sit here and, like, if you're going to continue to only champion the street people in hip hop, where are we going to, when are we ever going to elevate so we can say we're actually the better genre? Because sales and streams don't just equate to us being better. It only means that we sell more, that more people are listening. But it doesn't mean that we're better, as people. And that's what that's where we should be gearing ourselves to, where we should be more swaying ourselves to being better as people, especially within this genre. The music doesn't have to be fugazi, it doesn't have to be dumbed down or watered down, but everything doesn't have to be your actual life. Stop putting yourself under a microscope so you can continue to make this money and feed your family and feed your kids and all those things. Do that. Don't be the person that's out here telling on yourself and telling on your crew and breaking down how y'all moving weight up and down whatever coast, and you giving all of the details on the track so the hip hop task force can go out and then they sending stuff to whatever other task force so they can get you guys arrested and take you down. And now everybody's losing now. You done destroyed someone else's life. You destroyed your own. And then what? We're just going to talk about you on all of the media outlets. We're going to say, oh, such and such rapper is going to jail for X, Y, and Z. And we're like, well, he said he used to do X, Y, and Z, so I can see it. And it makes it hard for people to give you the benefit of the doubt. It makes it hard for them to find you not guilty in court. All of those things, because now the idea of you, the perception that you're giving off to the public is that, yes, these are the things that you do, period. So it's weird, it always weirds you out. It always weirds me out when I see people just putting things like that in their music. So it's odd. It's just not something I suggest. I wouldn't suggest it, man. So stop telling yourself in your music. Be more creative in your talent. I think it comes down to being creative as well. Some people don't have the wherewithal to actually rap. I think that's a big issue. I think that rhyming words, I guess we would say that's rapping. I think people don't have enough content, enough context to be able to be more elaborate, to be more creative and have wordplay. They'd rather just be blunt, straightforward. People enjoy it and be like, oh yeah, that's what's up. They right to the point, the guns out, the bricks out, all these types of things. But it's so basic, and to me it's boring. Like, I get away from that type of music because it doesn't really stimulate me mentally. And that's majority of the music I like to listen to. Sometimes I need to go back and check this and that and the third. So, up your bar game. Get it together. Still on the lines of music. Let's go on to the the A3C festival conference was going on. Lil Wayne had a performance, and there was a shooting scare. So going into, Wayne coming off an amazing run, new album just dropped. He got 2 songs. He made history. He got 2 songs in the top 5 on Billboard's. Amazing things. His career seems to be back on path. I'm more excited about hearing what he has to come up with next. But to go to a place like this and have a shooting scare at a conference like this, the conference is huge. It's a big conference, and pretty much cut his set short for his safety. He, got off stage and things like that. I get it, but why are people still doing like things like this? I don't. Again, it was an alleged shooting. It was a shooting scare. People just was making noise saying that someone was shooting, and I don't think anyone was injured. A couple of people probably like from the stampede of the crowd trying to run away from the area, but why are people still doing dumb things? If there was no shoot, I mean, even if there was a shooting, it's dumb at a place like that. But why are people still doing things like scares just to make waves? I don't really understand it. It's sad that we're still going down the path of things like that, and it's dangerous because you want to go places, you want to enjoy yourself, and you don't even know if you can go places anymore. People getting shot up at concerts, people getting shot at video game tournaments, and that's aside from people just getting shot, just being outside in their neighborhoods or going to work or coming home at night, things like that. We gotta put the gun violence has always been out of control, and is going to continue to be out of control. Because we don't understand really how to police it. We don't know how to police it, and that's a different conversation for a different day. Because it's just it's touchy. It's a deep. It's arguments on both sides of people saying we can keep the guns. There's people on the other side saying we should give up all the guns. It's weird because you want to protect your family, you want to protect your home, and if you're going about everything legally and you're doing it how you're supposed to do it, no one should see an issue with it. And those are not the people who are shooting people. It's the people who have the illegal guns. It's the people who are buying them from places they shouldn't be buying them from. Those are the ones who are doing most of the harm outside of the things that are going on with our social injustices. So let's just cut it out, man. Put the guns down. Let people enjoy their good times. Let people have their fun. And let's stop just with the nonsense. All of the nonsense. We got Designer at his concert or performance or whatever, punching at fans, just swaying away from gun violence. And he's throwing jabs at fans because they're saying he's a rip-off Future and Future is better. You got to get out of your emotions. Let that go, bro. It is what it is. You made your claim to fame in that time based off of someone else's swag, and it happens. That's a thing. What are you mad for? Still, you probably heard that 1,000 times by now. You're still getting upset over that? It's stupid. Like, come on, let that go. All those things, he's the better artist. Future's the better artist. He's the better rapper, I would assume, at this point. He's a better hit maker and all those things. Live in your truth, bruh. It is what it is, Another major thing that happened over the past week, I want to say week, 2 weeks or something like that, they're saying that Birdman and Young Thug is under investigation for allegedly being or hiring the shooter of Lil Wayne's tour bus. And the big news is that Birdman was on a phone conversation, I guess in prison with the shooter who was, I don't know, was he charged? I think he was actually charged. So he's in prison or something of the sort. And he was telling him, it's time for you to come get your money and this and like that. So taking it in that context, and when people put the spin on it, it could sound like you paid somebody for a hit. On the other hand, it can be anything. It can be anything. Birdman's a businessman. He's done a lot of business with a lot of people. And if you're about to get out and you're talking to somebody and you're saying, hey, I know that money that you were owed for whatever, because again, it's a snippet. We don't have the full conversation of what they were talking about. No elaboration on anything. It could be for anything. It could be for anything. Now I don't put anything past anybody. I'm not saying that wasn't why he said to come get your money, but it could be anything else as well. So are we going to harp on that the entire time? Or are we going to continue to sit here and be like, yeah, Birdman did it, and Young Thug, because Young Thug's a definite troll. Man, take a step to the side real quick. When Young Thug said that Lil Baby and Gunna's album was going to be better than the Carter 5, I laughed when he said it. But of course, since I'm on this platform and I'm in music and I try to listen to as many projects as I can, you gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me. Even assuming that they were going to put together a better project than Lil Wayne, even with him being gone, musically from his own projects for 4 years. That Drip Harder project is nowhere near. Nowhere near. I made it to like track 6 just trying to listen on some vibing out stuff. I couldn't make it. I skipped to track 13 because Drake's on it. Listened to that and then I kept it pushing. I probably will never ever listen to that project ever again in my life. Never. And I've heard them both make some good music. They have some good features. They have a couple good verses on other. But this project as a whole, it's a Young Thug project. They literally sound like everybody. They sound like Thug. They sound just like Thug, just with more clarity in their voice. And it's weird because I like Thug. I'm not a huge fan of his music, but I like him as an artist. I think he's very creative. I think he's talented in what he does in his pocket. But I don't think there should be 4, 5, 6 people that sound like Thug. It's not going to mix, especially when I can hear you clearly, exactly, like word for word. And a lot of the things you're saying is like the lyrical content is trash. It's crazy because Thug's put on this pedestal by a lot of people, not by all, but he's put on this pedestal as like this super creative musical genius for the things that he do. I mean, I listen to this stuff. It's just it probably just isn't for me. It might be one of those things where, like, you know what, all of his music is not for me. When he's on certain hooks and things like that, yeah, like he be killing. And I'm like, oh, this joint, like, I like it. But his own projects and a lot of things, just listening to him for a period of time, a duration, I can't really tolerate too much of it. And that's how I felt about that album. So for him to say that, I was like, you crazy. Gotta be on something, which may be the case. But it's true. Like, nah. Can't do it. Can't do it. What's going on? So yeah, I mean, how many of you guys, like, do you think Birdman and Young Thug put the hit out? Do you think that was something they had their hand in at that time? The court case was a major thing. He was allegedly owed $50 million, speaking of Lil Wayne, and he was trying to get that money. Like, at that time, do you think that it was something? Do you think Birdman would stoop that low as a trying to kill someone who he calls son to this day? I don't know, man. That's a tough ask. And it could have been one of those street code kind of things. It could have been one of, but it's tough. Like, I can't really put my finger on that to say, like, yeah, he did it. It's iffy. For me, it's iffy. So let's go to our podcasting wave of fellow podcasters. So Joe Budden was challenged by Sci-Hi the Prince to a rap battle. Sci-Hi the Prince said he could put $500,000 on the line, and of course Joe gracefully declined. Because he's in this media space, and I kind of get it, but at the same time, it's one of those things where, like, at what point does Joe Budden stop with the whole, that's not what I do, I'm retired, but continuously say that he can fucking chew someone up and spit them out, pause, lyrically. At what point will we force him to say, yo, you gotta prove this shit? You can't keep saying it. You can't keep putting yourself on this pedestal, but we haven't heard anything new from you in a long time. And people do lose it. Like, people do lose skill and talent. You know, when you stop sharpening your tools, they can get dull. I think he's feeling like, you know, once I sharpened it and I put it up, it's gonna, you know, it's always gonna stay sharp until I start using it again. Then I can dull it out that way. But it can get rusty. You can go to use it the first time and it can break. You know. So, when do we start holding him accountable and saying, yo, you gotta stop saying this. You gotta stop saying you'll do X, Y, and Z to this person in a rap battle, and start putting the fire on his ass to actually say, yo, you gotta say something. Like, go out and let's hear it. You know, light jabs from Eminem, cool. Sahada Prince literally saying to you, like, let's do this, 500,000. And granted, like, Joe doesn't need the 500K. He doesn't need it. As far as going out to say, like, I'm going to battle for it because I can use an extra 500K. You know, his Spotify bag, I'm assuming, is pretty good, and the money that he made up until that point, it's okay. He lives comfortably. But for the sake of the culture, since he's always talking this culture thing, like, when did you step out and when do you actually do something for the culture? It's kind of selfish in my opinion, because if you're saying you still have this great lyrical talent, you're saying you still have this great lyrical ability, and I love Joe's music. I love what Joe is doing on all his media platforms, but sometimes you gotta call a spade a spade. And right now, I think he's on some bullshit. I think that he is afraid of some of these people, because he might lose some credibility if he loses the battle in the eyes of the public. But when you have such a large media platform and you have more following and things like that, sometimes it's hard for you to lose those types of things because your followers are going to back you the most. They're going to come out and go like, nah, you didn't hear on line 4 when he said X, Y, and Z. And they're going to try to start deciphering the code for you in the eyes of the public. And they'll give you the win just based off of your social standing. And I think that a lot of these people that are challenging him are people who can rap, like rappers. You know, I think that they could go bar for bar in a sense, and it doesn't have to be like, oh, he had a better song, so it was more entertaining versus this. Nah, now we come with all punchlines and talking about digging in the crates of your history, and we can say some things about you that even you'll probably admit to, but hearing it from someone else or hearing it in a different light or context or lyrically, you know, put in a different bag, we'll probably enjoy it more. These are some of the battles that we need for hip hop, and it's crazy because I want to see it. Again, I think he's running from a lot of these people. I think he's afraid. I think that he assumes it might affect what he's doing media wise, but I think it'll only bring more attention to him. Joe got to step up. He got to step up because you're saying you're retired. If you're saying you're retired, stop saying that you'll battle, like if you was to battle X, Y, and Z person, that you'll eat them alive. You got to stop saying it. You got to just do it, prove it. Because they can say it all day. You can say it all day. I'm not going to sit here and let Michael Jordan tell me he going to bust my ass in basketball and he's 50, but me and him never check rock. He just going to keep telling me. And then the whole world's going to believe it because he's Michael Jordan. So in a sense, I get it. But at the same time, if you ain't checking rock, bro, you can't beat me. If you're not getting in a booth, you can't beat them. If you're not willing to back your claims, period, you can't beat them. We can't keep doing this high road thing where it's like, even in my worst day, and I'm here now, and all this, like, you need a different type of a caliber of rapper. And he named a few people, like, he was like, I don't know if I can really go against them and stuff like that, you know, Lupe and different types of rappers. But I don't think if you're really sure you can go against the current people who are challenging you. Of course not. If any of these Lils go out, you didn't have to. I didn't expect you to go back at the Migos after they mentioned you in the song. Anybody can probably out rap 90. Anybody can probably out rap them in a rap battle. People who actually rap. But for everyone else, the Side High, the Princes, uh, the M's, the Crookeds, like, battle somebody, man. Even if you only do one thing. You can make it listen, this is the only thing I'm doing. You said this, I said this. If you come back again, then you decide from there if you want to continue. But say something, man. Stop with the bullshit. You gotta stop. Like, you gotta come out the house a bit. Come out the comfort of your media space. Be a rapper for a second. It's a battle. We're not asking you to drop a album. We're not asking you to drop an EP. We're not asking you to start putting out new music. I mean, I personally think at some point that you're actually going to put some music out. Just because, solid-wise hot, while your fame is at an all-time high in the current market, I believe you're going to do something someday. Even if it's like something with your son, I don't know, but I think you are. But come out of that comfort zone. Stop being scared. Stop being scared to go up against these people who are challenging you to these lyrical spars. Step out of your comfort zone. That's how I feel about that. Stop. Man up. Who, like, even that battle. Who do you guys think would win? Like, who do you think will win out of Joe Budden and Saha the Prince? I think Saha can rap his ass off. I mean, I think Joe can rap his ass off too, but I think Saha has been a little more active as of lately, still sharpening his skills. It's a difference. So for now, I'll have to take Saha until Joe stops playing like he's too good to rap against anybody. Got to step it up. So, at the same time, let's shift over to Kanye West, since Joe seems to really be fed up with him, and I'm kind of getting fed up with him, but only on the musical aspect. I kind of stopped caring what he's doing in his own personal space and how he's promoting himself and wearing MAGA hats and all that stuff. I don't care no more. Until it actually starts affecting us as a whole and how we move, versus just being a conversation piece, which is more than likely what he wants, because he always uses things as marketing. I am going to worry about if Yandy's coming out or not. So he said Yandy was gonna drop the next day after Lil Wayne dropped the Carter 5, and it didn't happen. So we all assumed it was gonna come out the next week, and that didn't happen. So now we're looking at like, okay, what's the deal? So he says, I delayed Yandy because I want to go and record in Africa. Why does he always have to go through this phase where he got to go and record in this space, wherever this space may be, whether it's in the fucking mountains or now out in Africa? What's the deal with that? Like, I really would like to have a conversation, like a real conversation with Kanye, to be able to sit down and talk to him and get some real answers. Not this fake woke bullshit he be spitting on fucking TMZ and all that. And can you move to the side because she's giving me all of this energy and I need the channels. Shut the fuck up. Like, really, what's going on in your mental space? Who's in your corner? Who's telling you, bro, a studio is a studio regardless of where you are recording the music at? If you need to travel to Africa to feel like you're in a creative space, I think the album's I now think the album's going to be trash. Like, what are you going to do over there that you can't do over here? Are you going to sample some live African music, maybe? Put that in your stuff? Okay, cool. I can accept that. That I can accept. But if you're going to go over there and none of the vibes and none of the themes have anything to do with African anything, you went there for no reason. If you're going back over there to figure out if you should be wearing MAGA hats or not, maybe. Then I'll accept it. But to me, that don't have anything to do with music. You can go over there, find yourself, and then come back and record a great album. Are you trying to go back to the quote unquote woke Kanye? He was actually talking about issues, the whole Jesus Walk movement and things like that. Are we gonna get that type of Kanye back, or are we gonna get this new I'm still experimenting with sound Kanye? Are we gonna get this I'm still tweaking the album on the 11th hour Kanye? Because I don't want that. I want the project to be done, and when it's out, I want it to be out. I don't want you to go back and add songs, take away songs, fix production, wait for new samples to clear it, and re-add that. I want you to drop the project when the project is done. Drop the entire thing. I'm so tired of this with Kanye going back in and trying to tweak things in the last hour because I don't even know why. Just because he feels like it. So with Kanye wanting to go to Africa to record his album, I mean, like come on. Just make an album, bro. Just like, are you gonna take all of those writers over there with you too? Are they all gonna be over there in Africa with you? See, because that's the thing. It's not like you're out here and you're pumping out your own hits and you're writing all your own stuff and the lyrical content is coming from you. You're producing. You're highly sampling a lot of old music or other music from other people. You're putting it together. You're adding different drum patterns and things like that, and then someone else is writing your beats. That's where I'm at with Kanye today. I used to think the old Kanye is great. I used to hold him super high in regards as far as production. But now with the whole sampling thing is so watered down to me. Like, no one is making original beats, in my opinion, from what I'm hearing anymore. Everything has a sample from this and a sample from that and a sample from this, and I put it together. And now the only reason that song didn't come out because they didn't clear the sample, and then that song so stop sampling. You're a producer. You can make your own music. If they didn't approve that sample, why can't you create something else that reminds you of that, a little remnants of that, so you can put that song out? You're not going to keep telling us that great songs were never placed on albums or were never able to be released because you couldn't get a sample clear. Produce some shit. You're a producer. If you're as great as we hold you to be, produce it. Stop looking at old songs and everything else is inspiration, and now you want to take that old inspiration and you want to smear it throughout the production, and you want to sit here and you want to loop somebody's old song over and over and over again in the background and add some drums and then rap on top of it. For me, you're losing credit as a producer, man. The real producer is the ones who made the track the first time. Because if you're still using it 10, 15, 20, 30 years later, they produced the hell out of that track. Those are the ones I'm giving all of the credit to at this point. I'm tired of super sampling. Even in a low tier of producers, the producers that are coming up making beats and dropping stuff on YouTube and things like that, and you're sampling, you didn't get the sample clear. And then you're trying to sell that beat to an artist, and then they gotta go and worry about getting a sample clear for a beat that you produce. I think that's kind of corny. I think you should, if you're gonna make a beat and sell it, I don't think producers should be allowed to sell beats that they made where samples aren't cleared because they made it and they're making money off of that, and then the artist goes and gets sued. Today, like in this era. We did have the instance when Robin Thicke and Pharrell was sued for their song. But with these lower tier producers, I don't see that happening too much. And maybe none of their songs ever really made it too far, but I'm not sure. But it's crazy. I think that if you're calling yourself a producer, I think you should have the talent and the skill to be able to produce an entire track from scratch. It's enough production equipment out here. There are enough instrumental sounds and wave files that you can create everything from scratch. You can make your own production. You don't have to sample something from 1996 and try to recreate it, and then you gotta have sample clearing issues. So that's where I'm at with Kanye. As far as his production goes, I'm no longer impressed. I'm no longer impressed with Kanye West's production because every song is a sample of something else, which to me is saying that he's not original. So if he's not original with his production, and he has writers writing his lyrical content for the most part, where is he? Where does he fall on the scale of music? Is he still a great musician? Is he still one of the goats, so to speak? Because we drag a lot of artists through the mud, especially in hip hop, for not writing their own music. We do that. So he's already on that plane. He's already said and spoken on saying, like, you know, he got a team of writers. All the time he bring in people, even the writers, they're freely able to talk about, like, yeah, you know, I went and I helped him. I wrote on that song. You know, I didn't do a verse on it, but I helped him write that song, and I helped him write that song. So we're doing the same. He's doing it. If you're doing that with your lyrics and doing that with your production, you're just a fucking copycat. Like, you're cheating on the test the entire time. Everyone else is giving you the answers all the time, and that's where I'm at with Kanye. It might be the unpopular opinion. It might be. But that's where I'm at. Do your own thing. I want to hear a 100% Kanye West track. I want to hear him. I want to hear that he made the track from scratch. I want to hear that he produced the entire thing. I want to hear that he wrote his entire lyrics. I want to hear that he put it all together. He arranged the song, put it out, and I want it to be good. That's what I want to hear from Kanye. Because I'm tired of him being held in such a high regard musically. And when I go and check and I look at the credits, it's a sample of this and a sample of that and a sample of this and 10 writers. That's trash. That's trash. That's not music to me. And it's cool. It's frowned upon in hip hop because we hold that to a high regard as far as how much talent you have to have in hip hop. If he was a singer or R&B artist, rock out. Do your thing. All the songwriters, go ahead. All the samples in production, go ahead. Do your thing. No one cares about that. No one cares about it when it's R&B, when it's pop, when it's country. Only when it's hip hop. Only when it's rap. Do we care when someone has writers? And I agree with that. I think that you should write your own music because you can tell your own story, etc., etc., and it shows how talented you are. Hip hop is the one genre of music where it's competitive, like a sport. If you're on a basketball court with someone else and they shoot better jump shots than you, there's no way you can have somebody else come in and shoot your jump shots for you and say, I beat you. Nah. You can't do that. But we do that with ghostwriting in hip-hop. Yo, that track with Flames, blah, blah, blah. I mean, only giving credit to the name on the track, but not the people that's behind the scenes, especially if the people behind the scenes weren't getting their credit. And if we never know about it, then it's like we probably got some of the GOATs that probably had some of the best ghostwriters of all time, and we'll probably never know it. But as far as Kanye goes, we know it. It's all out in the open. His entire process is out in the open. Everything that he does as far as his music is out in the open when everything is spoken on. The writers, the sampling. I'm just tired of it. I want an original production. I want original lyrics from Kanye West. Just give me one song. One song that's a 100% Kanye. I want to see where you are. I want to see where your skills are. I just want to see it. To see if you're still eligible to me in that GOAT category. Because now I look at you in a different, like the same way people look at Drake differently after the whole Quentin Miller rumors. I've been looking at Kanye different for years. Sample after sample, writer after writer. I said it. It is what it is. You know? Let's get ready to close this out soon. Let's end it off with Cardi B. Probably a little statement after, but allegedly, let's go with allegedly. Shia LaMour, who is Offset's baby mom, the mother, I guess, of his other child, or I don't know if he has other children outside of the one with her, and then Shia LaMour. So Shia LaMour, Offset baby mom, put out a freestyle that ended up getting put up on a Shade Room. The freestyle was all about like female empowerment. You know, if somebody not doing good for you, leave them. Don't stay in a relationship you don't need to be. Keep your head in the books. Those type of things were in her thing. It hit about, it hit over a little. It was going over. Hit 1,000,000+ views on Shade Room. Comments were great. Magically, it was taken down. Magically. Now we know how that game works. Something happens when you're attached to one person and that person is attached to another one. So Cardi B goes, not Cardi B, Shia LaMour drops it, and then everybody starts saying, "Oh, it's Cardi B." Cardi B's team got that shit taken down because she was popping on the Shade Room. Cardi B team goes, get that taken down, or Offset's team. So now we're looking at like, oh, Cardi B is out here complaining, saying Nicki was stopping her bags, but now you stop Offset's other baby mom, you take her down because she had a positive message and the rap was actually kind of good, and now you're taking it and you're going at. Now all these things are alleged, but let's talk about it. The Shade Room posted it, so they didn't have no reason for them to take it down. They put it up there. They obviously thought it was good enough for them to keep. Got great traction. Maybe Cardi B was tagged 1,000 times. Maybe Offset was tagged 1,000 times. And now it's magically gone. Because they have more power. They can call these media outlets. And sometimes they can swing that weight around. So Cardi B, let's say you did it. Let's just say that. Let's go with on the lines of Cardi B. Now you're stopping bags because this girl has some traction. She could have been moving. Yes, she's Offset's baby mom, and probably you don't want that light shed on the other baby mom. These are just my angles, all of my alleged angles. So it was okay. The good message was good. Female empowerment, all the things women love to hear today in their music. It was pro-female all the way. But now it's stopped. It's gone. Off the Shade Room? I find that to be a little shady. It's crazy because you go and you say these things and it'll probably never be proven, but I'm going to say she did it. I'm going to say Cardi B put the hit out on that track, on that freestyle. Someone from her team contacted the Shade Room and said, hey, we need y'all to take this down. And they obliged. For whatever reason. Either they got paid to do it, or either they said, listen, or we would no longer allow you guys to post content about us. Every time you post something about us, we'll find a way to sue. I don't know. You can threaten people like that. They're big. They're a big media platform. So we sat there and we had a whole bunch of people backing Cardi at that time when she was saying Nicki stopped her bag. And I love the fact that Nicki now has swag saying Nicki stopped my bag. She got the book bags out. She dropping t-shirts it's super petty. But I love that aspect of Nicki just turning it into a business. It is what it is. Nicki stopped my bag, book bags. I might have to cop one of them Jones. I don't know, man. That was sick. I love it. But Cardi goes on when she was saying on that stuff, you stop my bag and get in my way and blah, blah, blah. And if your team went out and did this to this girl, that's trash. What's the term? You're becoming the thing that you don't like. Isn't that what it is? I think that's what it is. So you're becoming the thing that you don't like, and you go on and do something like that. I think it's trash, man. I think it's trash. But in closing, guys, enjoy the rest of your weeks. Enjoy the rest of your day for the people who were on my live and on my Facebook. I really appreciate you for staying tuned and kicking it with me. I appreciate the feedback. Even today, it was kind of minimal, but I appreciate it nonetheless. For those who listen on SoundCloud, for those who view on YouTube, I appreciate you all the way. And I don't really have too much to say on the week's been kind of slow. Not too much news going on. Hopefully a lot of good things happen between now and next Tuesday. and we will take everything from there. But until then, guys, it's the Highly Favorite Podcast, episode number 7, and I am gone. See ya.